My sort of background, I was an environmental journalist for quite a number of years, and I got involved with planting fruit trees, um, kind of accidentally, but I've always really liked fruit trees. I mean, really dating right back to childhood. Had an aunt who had fruit trees when I was really little, and I used to love picking apples and plums and things in her garden. My name's John Hancox, and I'm director of Scottish Fruit Trees. I plant a lot of orchards, both in town, in schools, and with community groups, and also sort of more rural settings, farms, and so on. We're actually in town in Glasgow at the moment, and we're by one of the trees that we planted. So this is kind of a nice idea of having fruit trees in gardens across the city. Lots of people think orchards are very specific things where you have lots of trees in one place, but there's no particular reason why you can't have, trees in different people's gardens, and collectively that makes up an orchard. So that's really what we've done here. So I'm going to try and show you a few different places down the street here where we've planted fruit trees in different people's gardens. Yeah, this is Casimir and Marjano. They've also got some trees in the back garden that we supplied, and the next garden along, they're actually different people, but the original people that moved, have moved, but the trees carried on, obviously. We had a big project called the Commonwealth Orchard, which was the run up to the Commonwealth Games. So we did quite a lot of planting with, around Glasgow at that time. The aim was to get about 2,000 trees planted in gardens, so sort of in community settings and so forth across Glasgow. You don't have to have a big area to to effectively be part of planting an orchard. If people planted, in different gardens along the street, then effectively you're creating a shared orchard. When I started doing this, I was very much a lone voice, sort of arguing for orchards and fruit trees, and slightly to my surprise, it's become quite kind of fashionable to plant orchards and fruit trees. As I say, slight surprise, but a positive development, and we're starting to get to the point where people, farms and so on, are starting to look at planting, on a reasonable scale. There's the idea that an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and you find that apples are very healthy, and eating apples have all sorts of health benefits. They're antioxidants and all kinds of things in the apples. And you tend to find that people, when they have grown their own fruit and or picked it from their own trees, they basically find it tastes better and just like it better than the ones you buy from the supermarket. there's something very special about blossom time. You know, you get the blossom, plum blossom, apple blossom is very beautiful. You know, as you say, there is a tradition in Japan of cherry blossom, but there are areas, for instance, in Austria, where people have a lot of festivals around apple trees and orchards, both in the spring when the blossom comes and also in the autumn. And I think one of the things that people seem to be getting increasingly interested in is kind of autumn apple picking days out in orchards and apple, you know, and urban apple days as well, where you kind of get fruit and, you know, juice and, you know, make apple cakes and so forth. It's a nice thing to do. The slight problem with springtime in Scotland is the weather's slightly unpredictable, and it's hard to know exactly when you're going to get the blossom because it does depend hugely on the weather. It's a very odd weather pattern. Yeah. I would love to have a crystal ball and know what will happen next, but you know, I do. You know, it's gone from being, you know, a sort of, as I say, quite a sort of niche me banging on about fruit trees, to it being something that people are really, you know, I think they've kind of got the message.